I'm Ami Horowitz, and on October 7th, Hamas committed one of the most atrocious terrorist attacks in Israel's history. It attacked Israel and killed over 1,000 Israeli civilians in the most brutal way possible. Israel responded by invading Gaza, Hamas's base. Many portrayed Israel as committing war crimes during this operation. This video will delve into the myth and the reality of that. In response to this atrocity, Israel entered Gaza on October 27th after a bombing campaign. The media was flooded with images of destroyed buildings smashed to rubble. And alongside it, the campaign to demonize Israel, a narrative accepted by many people on the left. Do you think that Israel's committing war crimes in Gaza?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like intentionally targeting civilians?
Yeah, they're just like blowing everything up.
That conflict in Gaza?
Oh yes, I know a lot about that.
Okay. So do you think that Israel is committing war crimes?
Yes, I do. The definition of a genocide is
You think it's a genocide?
I think they definitely are.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
From what it sounds like, I'd say so.
Yeah, I think they acting improperly
Yeah.
because they killing a lot of innocent people.
Right.
I think they are. I think they are committing war crimes. I see like on the news, hospitals and children, they don't care about the civilians.
So is Israel committing war crimes as the media has promulgated, or is it following the rules of war?
Absolutely, Israel follows the laws of war, or what we call the law of armed conflict, and the application of use of force, especially in this war.
John Spencer is considered the U.S.'s leading expert on urban warfare. He's the co-chair of Urban Warfare Studies at West Point and the co-director of the Urban Warfare Project. In fact, Israel has instilled in its military an ethos of ethics that is a core part of its doctrine and that it implements on the battlefield. Among its prime directives is to minimize harm to civilians. This is an unprecedented interview with an Israeli military drone operator tasked with targeting and attacking military targets in Gaza.
Training that we are going through in order to qualify us to avoid hurting uninvolved civilians are start from the beginning, from the drone school of the Israeli Air Force. We are learning how to analyze the image, how to distinguish between men, women, children.
From the day you're drafted into the IDF, ethics is something that's discussed and rediscussed over and over and over again. From basic training to the most senior courses, that emphasis on our ethical code, that emphasis on the standards to which we hold ourselves, and that's what makes me proud to wear this uniform and to serve in this military.
Those ethics are the things that drive me, the ability to sleep at night and function as a human. I'm not just an Air Force drone pilot, but I'm a Jewish Air Force drone pilot.
But how does that track? How could the IDF focus on ethics if the Gaza war has left thousands of civilians dead, including women and children? While this number seems large and has been the fuel that has pushed the storyline that Israel is guilty of mass war crimes, a closer examination has revealed a truth that belies the narrative being told. So the number that we hear on civilian deaths, 25,000 deaths roughly, seems like a very large number to me. Doesn't it seem like a large number to you?
No. I mean, because I study war, I study urban wars. In the spectrum of urban combat, even modern history, that's not a large number, depending on the context of the enemy.
Does casualty count determine unlawfulness versus unlawfulness? Does casualty count determine war crime versus non-war crime?
Absolutely not. It doesn't even. It's not a part of the decision in which somebody would evaluate a crime. That number, what matters is, like the law says, is what is the context of the action. So there's no comparison to how lawful the IDF have been, how low the IDF civilian casualties have been in the execution of the use of force.
I'm very proud in that because I think it's given me the energy and the motivation to continue. Some people say it's disturbing your mission. You are not performing your mission because you are trying to not to hurt uninvolved civilians. But I see this that part of my mission is not to hurt uninvolved civilians. So by doing that, I do fulfill my mission.
Urban warfare is the most brutal of all forms of war, and has historically led to the highest rate of civilian deaths. 90% of victims of this type of combat are civilian. Yet Israel has a casualty rate, both historically and in this current Gaza war, at 50%. Additionally, the difficulty to achieve this historically low level of civilian casualties is even harder because of the contextual circumstances that Israeli forces face, including the density of the population in Gaza, This small strip of land has 14,000 people per square mile, compared to Iraq that has 102 people per square mile, and Afghanistan with just 66 people, making avoiding casualties exponentially more difficult.
Characteristics of Gaza area is a very high dense location, a lot of buildings, houses, refugee camps, everything is mixed one in another. It's very difficult to distinguish between Hamas and the civilians, the uninvolved civilians, because they are mixed together.
Adding to the complexity and difficulty in minimizing civilian casualties is Hamas's deliberate and cruel choice to place their terrorist infrastructure inside civilian locations and using their own citizens as human shields in a callous attempt to increase the civilian death toll in order to put pressure on Israel.
The Hamas put their inside house of civilians, and one of the greatest challenges of us as a drone pilots is to make this separation between the civilians and the Hamas terrorists and their equipment, and to know what to do with that.
Does the enemy specifically try to put you into these moral dilemmas?
Every day. They know. The enemy is very smart. He knows that the world is very criticized about Israel and their operations in Gaza and the West Bank. So they know that we are very sensitive regarding the civilians. On every target, they hide their ammunition house of civilians. They put ammunition warehouse near schools and kindergartens, mosques.
Do you think Hamas is actually trying to increase the civilian death count?
I don't think that, I know that. Hamas is absolutely trying to get as many civilians, Palestinian civilians in Gaza, killed as possible.
لذلك شكلوا دروعا بشرية من النساء والأطفال والشيوخ والمجاهدين ليتحدوا بذلك آلة القصف الصهيونية وكأنهم يقولون للعدو الصهيوني إننا نحرص على الموت.
In the last Gaza conflict, the Israeli military captured Hamas handbooks that acknowledge that Israel places an emphasis on limiting civilian casualties and trains its fighters on how to lure the Israeli military into killing more Palestinian civilians. In one section called Factors for Successfully Hiding Weapons in Homes, the manual explains how civilians can and must be used to hide the explosives, including this photo, showing how to put explosives near a child's bed. What does Israel do to minimize casualties in this war and others?
The reason the Israeli Air Force using a lot of drones in their missions is to avoid hurting uninvolved civilians. Because of the ability to distinguish, to investigate the target, we are there with the drone, sometimes even 24 hours before the attack, to clear the area. I scan the area with both CCD camera, a regular day camera, and infrared. With an infrared camera, I can see very small things that may be hiding or in some place that a regular camera cannot see.
Unique to only Israel, too. Some of the things that Israel does in order to remove non-combatants, calling everybody in the building and telling them to get out. Giving
phone calls.
Phone calls.
To everybody.
To everybody. Which is unique. Never been done in the history of warfare. Unique to this war, too, Israel hands out its maps, which has never been done in war, saying, today, our area of operation will be this small area. So if you're not there, there's less risk to your death. They'll give plenty of time for you to evacuate, which are all unique civilian harm mitigation steps that Israel takes.
Doesn't Israel lose a military advantage by doing that?
100%.
Sometimes when I'm talking with foreign military, they always tell us, you Israeli are, why you do it? You are destroying all the element of surprise. You are hurting yourself in their ability to achieve the completion of the mission. But I feel very good about it that we do it.
Which is going to be really hard for people to believe that in this war, not a single battle, in this war, Israel has implemented more steps to mitigate the harm of civilians than any military in the history of warfare.
Including the United States?
Including the United States.
When you use a missile, when a helicopter comes and shoot a missile on a target, you need to get the clearance first from an officer in the rank of at least a colonel, usually a brigadier general. This is a person that has 20-25 years of experience. The ability to abort an attack, given even to the smallest private. If anyone see something or to cause the hurt of uninvolved civilians, he has the privilege to say abort attack. In order to abort the attack, everybody can do it and everybody is obligated to do it. Unfortunately, several times that we are aborting an attack because we didn't want to hurt any uninvolved civilians, those targets eventually hurt Israel in one way or another. It's one of our most difficult dilemmas, what you do, because what we're supposed to do.
Your civilians or their civilians?
Yes.
An undertold story from the Israeli-Hamas conflict is an unrelenting onslaught of missile attacks that Israel has endured. These missiles are not targeted at military installations or high-value targets, but rather, they are all directed at major civilian population centers with the express purpose to wreak terror and kill Israeli civilians. How far away are we now from Gaza?
From this point to the border, less than a mile. What you see here, it's just part of the rocket that fall on this town in the last 12 years. We talk about 28,000 rockets.
So I've literally been in Tel Aviv for 45 minutes. This is the second time rockets have been sent here. We have the red alert. You can hear in the background the alarm, and the explosions have already started. And this was all packed. Everything you see here with people, lined with people, packed with people sitting out and enjoying the day. Of course, now they are all gone. And there's the first explosion. Probably hear a couple more after that. And this is the way people here in Israel are living day to day. Another one, that one just shook the windows right in front of me. That was very close by.
You have an average of about 340 rockets and mortars a month.
They don't target the army, they target the civilians. We have here people that died from these missiles. We have here one of the schools, it have a direct hit.
How much time do you have between when the sirens hit and when you have to be inside your shelter?
We have just 15 seconds. We hope will be here peace, because it's a beautiful area and we can do here together, we can do here big things.
Do you think Hamas is actually trying to increase the civilian death count?
I don't think that. I know that the Hamas put their ammunition and other things inside house of civilians.
While we were filming, a pro-Palestinian agitator began throwing rocks at me.
Through this is to figure it out, and we all.
You mind not throwing rocks at me, bro?
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, stop doing it. Whatever. Stop. Okay, stop throwing.
It's not about you. We're doing
Stop
a thing.
throwing that at me. I asked you nicely, man. Please stop that.
I mean, I don't want to really be nice.
Yeah,
oh, please stop.
No, that says it all to me right there.
This is a gross interruption.
Did you kind of make you rethink a little bit the situation?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, considering that, I have to reconsider that.
Did it make you at least think a little bit differently about it?
Yeah, I think every piece of information that I get coming out of the conflict right now makes me want to slow down and think about it, because you don't want to jump on what everybody else is thinking. But it does make me want to think about it.
But yeah, because 90% to 50 is pretty big disparity.
Yeah, it makes me rethink, definitely.
If you're being honest,
surprise me.
Does it make you rethink it a little bit?
Probably.
Sure.
Okay, then yeah.
From that perspective?
Yeah. I would say they're definitely not like going out and like hunting out civilians for sure. Yeah.
Like, what would you, if you were Prime Minister of Israel, what would you do?
I would probably do the same thing.